Ukraine, a small but proud country, was facing a bully, a big one, Russia. Ukraine was scared. The US and Europe saw what was happening. They couldn't let Russia push Ukraine around. They had to do something. So they gave Ukraine a pep talk. "We got your back," they shouted. "Russia's being a real jerk. You stand up to them. We'll be right here with you, we promise." The US and Europe promised weapons, money, and unwavering support. They made it seem like a sure thing. The US and Europe opened their wallets and their arsenals. They showered Ukraine with promises of advanced weapons, javelins to stop tanks, stingers to shoot down helicopters. They promised billions of dollars in aid. "Don't you worry," they reassured Ukraine. "We're here for the long haul." Feeling brave and supported, Ukraine took a stand against Russia. The world watched, holding its breath. Could Ukraine actually pull this off? To everyone's surprise, Ukraine started winning. They fought back with a ferocity no one expected. They blew up tanks. They shot down helicopters. The US and Europe were ecstatic. They cheered Ukraine on, patting themselves on the back for their brilliant strategy. But Russia, like a bear poked with a stick, became even angrier. The fight was far from over. In fact, it was about to get much, much worse. As the conflict dragged on, the initial excitement in the US and Europe began to fade. The cost of supporting Ukraine was adding up. Their own weapons stockpiles were dwindling. "This is getting expensive," they muttered, "and complicated." Doubts crept in. Section 5, the big betrayal.
The US and Europe started to backpedal.
The promises they made, they weren't so sure about those anymore.
The weapons they pledged?
"We'll see," they mumbled.
The money?
"Well, we've already given a lot."
Ukraine was aghast. "But you promised," they cried. "You said you had our backs."
But the US and Europe were already turning away, leaving Ukraine to face the bear alone. Section 6. The long road ahead. The consequences of being abandoned were devastating. Cities were reduced to rubble. Hospitals overflowed with the wounded. Millions of people were displaced from their homes. The economy was in ruins. The world watched in horror, but the US and Europe averted their gaze. Their promises lay broken, scattered amongst the debris of a war they helped start but refused to finish. Section 7. A world watching. The whole world was watching. They saw what the US and Europe did, or rather what they didn't do. They saw the empty promises. They saw the broken trust. They saw the hypocrisy. Countries that once admired the US and Europe now questioned their every move. Can we really trust them? They wondered. Section 8. The price of trust. The betrayal of Ukraine sent shockwaves through the world. Alliances that were once strong now seemed shaky. Countries became wary of putting their trust in others, especially the US and Europe. The world became a more dangerous place, where everyone was looking out for themselves. The dream of international cooperation seemed like a distant memory. Section 9. A cartoon's moral. This is a cartoon, yeah, but this actually happened. It's a messed up world out there, a world where promises are broken and friends are abandoned. It's a world where the big guys don't always play fair and the little guys get hurt. So what's the moral of the story? Don't believe everything you hear, especially from politicians.